After a successful dinner, Antoinette rings Kelly to start the Part 1 finale in She the People's Episode 8. She wants Kelly Washington to be a part of what they're creating and is looking to hire some new employees. It is time for a much-needed change in leadership after the team was terribly understaffed for a large portion of the season, not to mention Henry's henpecking and racist taunts. Kelly agrees to support Antoinette in her fight against this pipeline. Shamika is right by her side as they must be at the Capitol early. Basil is waiting in the wings when Antoinette and Shamika attempt to leave covertly at 5 in the morning. Lola and Titus arrive when he calls for them and face their mum about the video. Since the kids are aware that Antoinette has been avoiding them, this is undoubtedly a topic of disagreement for them. It is also the same video that persuaded Kelly to come and fight with Mom. Antoinette agrees to speak with them later after their hectic day, but Lola pushes her mother about the shorts she was wearing. When Henry learns he has been fired as chief of staff, he finds himself in a precarious position. While the others in the corridor are prepared to fire the remaining members of her carefully chosen crew, Kelly is here to take over his responsibilities. Naturally, this causes the governor to become agitated and become involved. Governor Harper calls Antoinette into his office and gives her a prepared speech regarding the pipeline to recite aloud. Harper dismisses her worries, reiterating that she only has to concur with all he says, but Antoinette resists. After defending numerous children in the neighborhood, she is finally prepared to take a position because she no longer wants to be a pushover. It has taken her the entire season to genuinely develop a backbone and stick to her convictions, particularly in the face of Harper's constant insulting remarks and retorts like, "good girl," and his vacuous remarks regarding her attire. After openly displaying his racism, she does this correctly as the stage is passed to Antoinette. Harper writes out a script, but Antoinette chooses not to follow it. She points out that they have never discussed the pipeline and that she actually wants it to be moved 2 miles north so that it only passes through farmland. The two end up fighting in public about this, as well as the impending construction of the plant. Harper is furious that Antoinette is in subordination, and when she returns to his office, she mentions that she is acting in the state's best interests and that they must cooperate. Harper blurts out, "Never outshine the master," which obviously sounds bad considering the dynamics at work. Harper is upset when Antoinette confronts him and demands that he respect her. He projected his own difficulties entering the office and all of the symbolic mud he had to rake in order to get there. It's actually a pretty amusing. I occasionally question whether the poker face casting staff is a bit too talented. For example, I think Sherry Cola is great, but I'm not sure why the show needed a comedian with her level of talent to speak, perhaps, 5 or 6 lines in this season's Last Looks. Additionally, as a minor league baseball radio host with a canned cheese addiction, Ego Enwoodham is essentially inebriated in this week's Hometown Hero. Gil Birmingham's portrayal of Skip Dooley, the team's manager, similarly hardly makes an impression. The supporting actors on this show are far too skilled far too frequently. This is essentially the only issue I have with this episode, which is otherwise deftly written by, so I bring it up at the beginning of this recap. Tony Tost was superbly cast, expertly directed by the legendary indie thriller John Dahl. The actor portraying this week's murderer, Rocket, Russ Waddell, a former fireballing pitcher attempting to salvage what remains of his career with his rinky-dink hometown club, is the main subject of my discussion. I spent a large portion of the show wondering where I had seen this guy before and why he was so flawless in this role because I missed the guest star's name in the opening credits. Most well-liked. Scarlett Johansson, the 7-time presenter of Saturday Night Live, may have been too friendly. The Last of Us finally pays tribute to Joel Miller. There goes Foo Fighters' new drummer. I identified the guy as Simon Rex since he played the fast-talking, immoral, but endearing sleazebag in Red Rocket, which is one of my favorite 2021 films, and the film that writer-director Sean Baker created just before his Oscar-winning Anora. Rex's relaxed, funky attitude makes everything he says and does feel natural, which makes him an excellent option for this poker face part. The fact that he looks and acts a lot like an actual MLB middle reliever who eats up innings is probably one of the reasons I didn't clock him right away. To be honest, he made me think of Charlie Morton. In what may be his last mound, Rex's Rocket Waddell, a nod to Rube Waddell, finds himself performances for the Montgomery Cheesemongers, who play in Velvety Canned Cheese Park, a stadium constructed by Velvety Canned Cheese substitute spread inventor Hiram Lubinsky decades ago. The amazing Carol Kane, who does leave an impression, plays Hiram's granddaughter Lucille, who oversees the entire business. Lucille has no say in whether Rocket is allowed to continue throwing because this is a small league game. Relevant content. In an excessively eccentric poker face, Charlie finds himself in a true Florida man scenario. There are 3, mainly, fantastic episodes of Poker Face's return. The murderous scheme unfolds naturally. Rocket discovers his days in Montgomery are coming to an end after he is shelled once more by a fastball that reaches a top speed of about 80 miles per hour.